People, how are we doing today? Steve Mingleco here again, Final Web Design. Just want to take this video and talk about how much you should be charging for your SEO services. So, if you're not familiar with SEO, search engine optimization, it's becoming increasingly important. So let's talk about how much should you charge. Now, the first thing is that you really have to evaluate which type of business and which type of market they're in, because that is ultimately going to determine more or less how competitive and how much work is going to need to be put in to get those websites ranking well in search engines. Now, some markets are very easy. I wouldn't say very easy, but some are easier. So say like a local blue collar industry, like a local plumbing company, when you're just targeting a small geographic area, like say the Miami area or the Twin Cities area or the Philadelphia area, and you have a company as like a blue collar, because usually, unfortunately, they're not as on tech savvy as some of these technology companies. It's just kind of the nature of the business. You're going to find that it is a lot easier to at least find yourself in some of those positions doing very standard SEO practices like metadata, pages, landing pages, a few Google ads. That's a little more digital marketing, but still, it's a little bit easier to rank for those. So what I would say is the first thing you really have to do is do your research as far as which businesses you're working with and how much work you're going to need to put into that particular market and that particular business. So why don't we go over what are some of the SEO services that are going to be needed, and then we'll talk a little more about how to price things. So let's just start with putting some tools on the website. Now, this should actually be the last point I make, so maybe I'm going to come back to this, because this is how you kind of evaluate how well your website is ranking and how well your progress is going as far as ranking more. So 301, you should do a scan of their website. So that goes back here to SEO tools to kind of figure out what is broken, what's not working. So if there are pages that are hitting 404s or 500 errors and server errors, you need to go in and make sure that you are redirecting these lost pages that people are visiting to a page that's relevant. In the worst case scenario, bring them to the home page, as long as they're not going to a page that's no longer there. And that's really something you're going to have to price as far as how many links you need to do. So say you want to charge 10 bucks a link. Okay, they have 100 links. Well, I mean, that's $1,000 bill right there just to do their links. But at the same time, they shouldn't have 1,000 broken links. I mean, most websites are not that big. They're not going to have that many external links going out there. So I would say, find exactly how much work they need and then kind of price it off that as far as 301 redirect. Backlink exchanges have become increasingly popular and increasingly difficult to get good backlinks. So say that you are a plumbing company and you want to link to like the Home Depot plumbing page, or that's kind of an extreme example. That's a very, very expensive link. I know some SEO companies out there that are charging $6,000 a month to do tube-type blog posts. That they'll put an external link to their site, and then they have to reach out, call these other companies, and say, "Hey, could we get our link of our website on your website?" And it can be very expensive, but ultimately those links are very popular. There's also free alternatives out there. Like we currently have a link on the Joomla.org. Joomla is a very popular open source CMS. And we have that link with them, but that's a free link. We got that through being an established company, but we also pay for links. So we pay like Upcity $100 a month to have a website link on theirs, and then insurance. They bring us a lot of traffic to our website. So there's a lot of different ways to evaluate links, but regardless, links are a lot of work. I would charge properly for them if you're going to do them right. I'm not talking about black hat and links that are not going to that are frowned upon, because there's a lot of that where you can just link to, say, a plumbing company in some directory of movies or something that's completely irrelevant, and Google doesn't like that. Keyword research and optimization. So basically keywords are the search phrases. So again, let's go to Philadelphia plumber near me. That you need to evaluate, again, going back here to the SEO tools through Google Search Console, Google Analytics, as far as what keywords, how competitive they are, how much a Google ad click could be for them and try to evaluate it that way. So it's really, again, going to depend on the market and how much competition is there. But either way, if you're charging by the keyword, you should be charging high, because there really are no keywords that are cheap anymore in most markets. Landing pages. This one's a little more straightforward, because basically a landing page is going to be any amount of content, any amount of just building out a page on the website that then is going to be used to find. So say you want to build, I mean, we have a lot of them, like Chicago web design, Miami web design, Minneapolis web design, and we built all these pages so that then Google finds them. I mean, we have a pretty standard price. We can do this for about $2.50 a page, depending on, if we have to provide content, if we have to provide stock images, things like that. This is more of a standard set price you can give, because really, depending on the market, it shouldn't matter. It's behind the amount of work behind it, because you're building it all on your own website. Meta descriptions, that's just going in, meta tags, meta keywords. This kind of goes down here to meta tags, as you see below. You're going to, and even on-page SEO, which is basically metadata, meta descriptions, title tags. All of these services are really going to matter on how many pages the website is and how many pages they haven't done it to. So I think we have a pretty standard price of about $45, $50 a page to go in there and do that. Now, properly being done, you should use keyword research tools. There's Google Keyword Planner. There's a few others where you can actually pull this data from Google as far as what hasn't been optimized, and then go in there and add those keywords, add those descriptions, add those title tags, so that Google's not only just pulling the content of your website, but pulling the metadata behind it. And again, this is a pretty straightforward priced item, because it's going to depend on the number of pages. So say you have a 5-page website, you're editing 5 meta description or on-page SEO, and you charge $50 a page, you're charging $250 for the service. That is one of those services where you can then just kind of bill by the product. Oh, going a little too fast here. So search engine for URLs, this is about, like, look up here how I have this internet marketing / SEO, because we're on an internet marketing into our SEO field. And now this is another one, and this is why pricing SEO and a lot of these digital services is very difficult. I mean, even websites can be very difficult. But as far as getting all your URL structures, it's going to be matter, first of all, if they even have the website set up, so it's set up in English or whatever language you're trying to build your URL structure in. But basically setting up search-friendly URLs is turning this into English, so that not only the user but the search engines are able to pull this keywords within the page. So say again you have a 5-page website. Now if they already have the technology to bring this into English and not a bunch of characters or weird symbols, you can probably charge, I don't know, $25 a page, $50 a page. But if you have to go back and install all this to get the website working that way, now that's another thing. You're going to have to charge for that on top. I mean, $200, $300 minimum. That's not unheard of. Again, and I'm not saying that these people can't find different services for different prices. I'm just saying this is what you should be charging. Don't undersell yourself. There's really no reason in this market to be underselling yourself. Sitemap development, this is another very straightforward thing that you can do to build into a website. It's a one-time thing. Usually we'll build an XML sitemap, which is something more for the search engines again, and then also an HTML sitemap, and I can even show you down here. We do have our sitemap. Let me see. I don't want to take too long. I got a lot of links down here, so browse sitemap. I'm going to open another page. And basically that's just an index of all the pages on your website, so that it will then be able to rank. And it takes, again, this one takes a minute because we literally got hundreds of different pages. So you can see here on our sitemap, it's pulling all of our industries served. Here's our Miami ones. Here's some of our landing pages, bottom resources, our tutorials. This is all being built within the website. And it's not only for users to kind of navigate to all these. So say I want to go to the e-commerce page. I'm going to open another link. this is all navigatable for the user, and it makes it very easy to pull the website information. But more than that, you're going to put this into Google, where they're then going to kind of pull this information. It's not so much for users, it's more for search engines. And that, I mean, you could price, again, it should take maybe at most half a day, 4 hours, but I would say once you get professional, you could probably have this done in a half hour, hour max, depending on the website platform. So then this goes into title tags, which is kind of up here with meta descriptions and metadata. So those are all kind of we talked about those. So just the last thing I really quickly want to review is the search engine optimization tools. And this is where you need to have a few tools in place so that you're able to track and monitor your progress of all this work that you're doing. So the best and most popular one is clearly Google Analytics. If you're not familiar with Google Analytics, it's free, it's open source, it's from Google. You install a little piece of code and it tells you how many visitors came to your website, where they came from, how long they spent on your website, what they did if there was a conversion. And you can get Google Analytics, again, at google.com. It is free, but if you're going to install it for someone, again, once you know what you're doing, it takes a very little amount of time. You probably have it done in a half hour, but I wouldn't charge anything less than $250 to install Google Analytics. Google My Business, that's not really what we're going to cover here. And the last one I really want to say is just Google Search Console, because this is where Google tells you all of the organic positioning and how your business is ranking as far as within the Google search algorithm. And this is another open source free tool that Google provides. So I would say to install this on a website. Usually it's just a little piece of code. You put in the header tag of a website, and you could charge anywhere from about $250, at least we do. So guys, just to kind of recap real quick, what should you charge for SEO? Well, ultimately, it really depends on the services that the business needs. And most websites are pretty small, so you could probably get most of this done for about $1,000, $2,000. However, for some of these large corporate websites, I mean, you could be talking tens of thousands of dollars, and that's not uncommon for big firms. So just know that every project you encounter, every market, every business is going to be a little bit different, but try to give yourself a understanding of some type of standards so that you're not just shooting in the dark where you're just charging this person this and this, like try to have something steady and just kind of list those SEO tasks that you're doing and how much you're charging them for each. So guys, if you have any questions about SEO, if you're excited about starting to rank your business or ranking your client's business, let us know if you have any questions in the comments. It's not a problem. We're always here to help answer anything. Leave a like, a subscribe. That stuff helps. And we will catch you guys in the next video. Keep coding, keep learning, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.